Hey folks, Rob Daniels here from the movie, TV, and video game soundtrack program Visions in Sound. That can be found every Saturday morning, 12 to 2 a.m. on Mix 98.5. You can also try me on my website if you missed the show, which, hey, does happen. You can try me on visionsinsound.ca. So I got two announcements for you. First of all, Fan Expo happened this past week. The panel on the 50th anniversary of Jaws went extremely well. The video will be up shortly. Speaking of videos, I also have another video in mind, and that's the recommendation video. Somebody did say, hey, they'd like to see another one, so I'll do it. No problem. It will not be the grand 52 soundtrack extravaganza that I did the first time. It'll be pared down to make maybe 10 and that sort of thing. So that's where I'm headed this week. So just before I went to Fan Expo in Toronto, the Wednesday night, I wanted to watch some movies. And so I decided, let's go with some unusual movies, stuff I haven't seen in a long time or haven't seen before. So the first one is Jabberwocky from 1977. Terry Gilliam film. What a weird film that is. Very strange. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't what I was expecting, in any case. So there was also 1980s John Carpenter's The Fog, something I hadn't seen before, or it had been a while. And then there was the Peter Weller film called Screamers, set in the future. Pretty cool stuff. Canadian film. And there was all of that. And so I had some other thoughts about the soundtracks I was going to do this week, but I eventually decided on John Carpenter's music to The Fog. Now, I know that Halloween is a number of months away, so I wasn't really doing it for that reason. I found his score very compelling, very interesting. And it's one of those scores that strikes you that you have, first of all, you have to remember this is just 2 years out from his Halloween score that he did. And again, John, or somebody who can answer this question for me, if you're listening, there's a quote that is attributed to you, that I've always attributed to you, and it said, I'm the only composer I could afford, so I always wrote my own music for my movies. So there was that. Can somebody out there verify that that's actually from Carpenter? Because I've never seen it. I've looked it up. I haven't seen it anywhere listed anywhere else. So that would be cool. Alan, if you're listening, John, if you're listening, check it out. I mean, please get back to me. Please get back to me. So yeah, 1980s The Fog. Very interesting film. First of all, it starts with a very spooky ghost story.
11:55, almost midnight. Enough time for one more story. One more story before 12. Just to keep us warm. In 5 minutes, it'll be the 21st of April. 100 years ago, on the 21st of April, out in the waters around Spivey Point, a small clipper ship drew toward land. Suddenly, out of the night, the fog rolled in. For a moment, they could see nothing, not a foot ahead of them. And then they saw a light. My God, it was a fire burning on the shore, strong enough to penetrate the swirling mist. They steered a course toward the light, but it was a campfire like this one. The ship crashed against the rocks. The hull sheared in two, the mast snapped like a twig, and the wreckage sank with all the men aboard. At the bottom of the sea lay the Elizabeth Dane with her crew, their lungs filled with salt water, their eyes open and staring into the darkness. And above, as suddenly as it had come, the fog lifted, receded back across the ocean, and never came again. But it is told by the fishermen and their fathers and grandfathers that when the fog returns to Antonio Bay, the men at the bottom of the sea, out in the water by Spivey Point, will rise up and search for the campfire that led them to their dark and icy death. 12 o'clock, the 21st of April.
About the Elizabeth Dale. So there's all of that. But again, a lot of people, John Carpenter's scores are very divisive. And the thing about his scores that are divisive is that people either love them or hate them. I'm in the camp where I think they're great. I think that as an amateur musician myself, I think it's cool that that he's able to write music for his own films and have it sound reasonable. It was pretty cool. Now, eventually, teaming up with Alan Howarth didn't hurt either, but listen to some of John's early scores, Halloween being the first and The Fog being, I think, the next one in line. It's some pretty great stuff. So you got to think. So here's the opening title, just to kind of set the mood, we'll say. So yeah, most of John's scores usually start with like one layer, and then it goes on and on and on, and then there's another layer on top of that, and then another layer on top of that, and they end up being like sounding very layered and that sort of thing, which is kind of cool, and it's a composing technique, and it's one of those things that I would love to be able to do a concert, or to have a concert performed in town here or whatever, of John Carpenter's music, because some of his music is really good, especially for stuff like Big Trouble in Little China, or Escape from New York, or Escape from LA for that matter. So there's some pretty cool stuff here. So yeah, you've got this whole wonderful thing with the fog, and again, the fog is very scary. This, I would say, is probably Carpenter's best early score. It's one of those things that you kind of have to sit back and go and listen and think of the technology available at the time, what he was doing, his process, which was essentially sitting down with a videotape of the film and playing to the film, essentially ad-libbing through the entire thing, and then eventually getting to the point where he liked the final results of the final score. So there's that. And again, you have to think of the technology of the day. So there's all of this wonderful stuff. And the soundtrack, I mean, this is a remaster. This is a Silva Screen remaster. They did one before, but this is a 2-discer. And this has got all of the regular stuff. This has got the John Houseman opening and a radio interview with Jamie Lee Curtis at the end. The disc 2 is actually the 1980s score cuts. So you'll hear a bit more of those in this particular review. So there's some great stuff here. Some very creepy, well done stuff. So there you go. But my favorite here has to be the journal read. Just how creepy it is. Just have a listen. John Carpenter's The Fog, a film that I just kind of watched on a whim and then decided, hey, let's do the soundtrack. Again, like I said, mentioned before, that recommendation video is coming very soon, as well as my panel at Fan Expo this year in Toronto. So with that in mind, I'll simply say this. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. I'd love to hear your comments on, whether or not what your favorite film score is, what your favorite John Carpenter score is, whatever. In any case, I'd love to see comments down below. Also, one little other item that I'm also going to say as well is that my the Final Battle video continues to grow. So there's that. And I'll also say this. If you're interested in any of the film, television, or video game music that I do play on my show, then join me every week, 12 to 2 a.m. on Mix 98.5. It's a Saturday morning. You can also try my website, visionsinsound.ca. I'm on Blue Sky these days, at visionsinsound.bsky.social, and I'm also on GoodPods, a downloadable app for your phone or other type devices, and I can also be found on many of the other podcatchers out there, including the likes of Apple Music. And folks, I realize it's a crazy world out there, so by all means, if you're having a difficulty getting through, by all means, call 911 for immediate help. You can dial or text 988, at least in Canada anyway, for the Suicide Crisis Helpline. You can also try 1-844-HERE-247 or HERE247.ca. They all offer ways of getting help if you or someone you know is suffering from mental health issues. So yeah, get out there and listen to some creepy, fantastic scores, because there are composers out there that are worthy of your time. So with Gimli always watching, I'll simply say this. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.
44. The Smooth Sound. Fabulous 1340. KAB. From top of the world, fabulous 1340. KAB. Antonio Bay, California. 46.
Something that lives with like an albatross around the neck. No more like a millstone. A plumbing stone, by God. Damn them all.